What's up, everybody? It's Alan the Kraken, and today on TCG Economics, we're going to talk about the types of TCG sellers. The goal of this video is to show how each TCG seller makes money and to ultimately show their motivations when answering consumer questions about games. This will be handy when profiling who you were talking to during those heated TCG discussions, and this is to show newcomers these subtle nuances. For example, a customer asks, "Should I buy this game?" A TCG creator, LGS, online seller, distributor, scalper, investor, collector, and even a manufacturer will all have very different answers. A TCG creator, their goal is to sell the idea of their game, entice investors, and set up distribution. Recently, new TCG creators are taking upon themselves to handle distribution and fulfillment. But once demand makes that scenario unviable and money is being left on the table, they often feel forced to seek outside help. And this is the most critical point of a TCG that starts to become mainstream. This is generally when you start to see the true colors of the TCG developer. Are they there to make the game, or are they there to make money, or are they trying to do both? It's sometimes it's one or the other, and sometimes it's both. It can really depend on who the creator is. So you start to see those true colors as they start making business deals and seeing where their ideas align, I should say. Manufacturer or printers, now their goal is to take in new clients if print times are available, because oftentimes they are not. Recently, Magic the Gathering just had to put up some new printers. Flesh and Blood just got some new printers online. So there's new companies being opened up and they are expanding. So expect a market where we could have a lot of cards. Um, but they will want to print in volume to make as much money as possible. They generally sell orders based off volume, not by how popular their idea, the creator's idea is. Um, and it's important to remember that early TCGs generally have a small budget, and the best printers and quality go to the bigger budgets. That's why you see a lot of error cards and stuff like that early on. Generally, they don't have QA put in together yet, so it's really a learning process for a lot of TCG creators at that point. Distribution goal: take in new clients if there's currently dead space in warehouses. They want to act in the client's best interests, and those shady things can happen here as well. Withheld supply, for example. We just saw that with like Flesh and Blood, so like, man, the hits just keep coming for Flesh and Blood. Allocate product to the largest volume sellers and slowly work down the list until there's no meaningful product left to distribute. The bigger pockets get more product, and that's how it's always been since the dawn of time. Local game stores. Now, before I touch on this, I want you guys to understand this is coming from the money and motivation part, not the I feel good and want to make my players happy part, okay? We all know that part exists, but this is strictly talking about the money aspect of an LGS. You guys light up the comments if you want. I don't care. Goal: sell sealed volume as a regional hub of sorts, but slightly care about secondary market, um, as customers who want to liquidate through them often sell for 50% off of TCG or eBay, TCG player value or eBay value. The LGS can sell singles as a secondary way to make money, but often this strategy requires for people to play the game, for demand to be there for that type of secondary market income. We know which games are being played and which ones are not. So, I'll digress there. Buy lists are an upfront way of politely telling the public your targets while rejecting bulk, and that's a great way to buy if you're an LGS. And then they also sell snacks and accessories. Okay, who can blame them? I mean, I would like a soda while I play. I would like to be awake during my opponent's 30-minute extra turn deck move or whatever crap they're trying to pull. Online sellers' goal. Very similar to the LGS model, however, you'll be locked out of distribution from certain TCGs that require the draconian brick and mortar store. This means they will have to be more flexible in their offerings, but will be more resilient as they have a lot less overhead compared to the LGS. They will often seek products that are trending and even participate in promoting the product and growing the community. Some online sellers are prosumers, and some are scalpers, and we have scalpers here too, so let's get into that one. Goal of a scalper: buy, hoard, and sell without emotion or passion for the product. The industry hates scalpers as it's seen as creating an environment of money-grubbing people, but folks, that's called capitalism. You reap what you sow. Very similar to online sellers, but will not engage in market growth strategies such as hosting events or teaching new players how to play the game. Investors. Their goal is to help finance a new TCG in exchange for early access sealed product and highly coveted cards so that they can make a small return or even break even on their investments. They will often promote the game to friends, other playgroups, or even social media. They often find themselves at extreme risk as most TCGs fail, so they must be extremely disciplined and choose each investment wisely. Guys, if you're calling yourself a TCG investor, you are going to have to start having standards for the TCGs that you invest in. There's at least 30 new TCGs coming up through the Kickstarter pipeline. I mean, I'm not going to knock a good TCG creator, but the game has to be playable now. Okay, we have to have playable games, and we have to have some form of return on the investment as an investor. Okay, and if you have to short print, or you have to create a certain special card, or you have to do 1 of 100, I mean, do what you got to do. But it's very important that we start having standards for the TCGs we invest in. Otherwise, we end up with certain TCGs that I've mentioned in the past. And it's important to remember that investors, they're being aware and engaged in the marketplace, and that's the key to success for these types of sellers, is to understand the collector, the investor, and the playability side of the 3 pillars of a TCG. Collectors. Their goal is to complete sets to gain a premium on the convenience of more aggressive buyers. So buyers that want to buy a complete set will often pay, about 10 to 20% more than the actual single cards are worth, especially if they know that they can get a complete set that's already sleeved and bound and already put into books and stuff like that. Like, that's a service that collectors provide, but collectors will often keep sets for themselves to enjoy or share with others to help promote the games they love. Typically, this is the end user of the sales funnel. Players. Their goal is to play the game with friends, but will still engage in selling and trading to evolve with power creep or meta of the gameplay. They will enter and exit the games they play with an expectation of value and liquidity to do so. If players are not playing a game that's currently being sold, it's generally called a fad. This is the other end user of a TCG sales funnel, but players also cause wear and tear to card populations, so they are an extremely important cog to the secondary market. I hope this little guide sheds a little bit of light onto the motivations of all these sellers and why they exist in this marketplace. Um, some are more desired than others, but everybody has their angles, right? Everybody has their different ways they dart their eyes to the left and right, you know. They're all looking to their friends like, "Hey, what do I do here? What do I do this? How do I do this? Why?" And hopefully that this guide kind of gives you a little bit of insight into that shifty eye kind of discussions that happen between um, in a lot of groups, like even like in Facebook, on TikTok, Discord, just all these different pods or bubbles of consumers that have these conversations. You can generally spot using this guide. You could take anybody in like a Discord chat room or whatever and pick out a comment, right? And then you could use this guide and figure out what type of seller they are based on their comment alone. And obviously, you're going to know a TCG creator from a distributor, but after that, like you get to like an LGS. Most LGS people have their own accounts, so you wouldn't even know they're an LGS unless you already knew they were an LGS. And then you're just not sure about why they said the thing that they said. Why did they say that Magic the Gathering is going to crap? Why did they say that Pokemon is crashing? Why did they say these things? You know? And hopefully this gives a better understanding of like how they operate and their thought processes and things that are going on in their minds as they try to spin the conversation to their side of the field, kind of thing. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. Remember to have fun, and you all have a wonderful day. Peace.